Hello, welcome. Dr. Sushma Singh this side. Today in Unit 22, Religion and Culture, we are going to start our lecture with topic Some Other Sociological Approaches to the Understanding of Culture and Religion. Beside Marx, Durkheim and Weber, there have been other sociological perspectives explaining the nature of religion within the cultural framework. Most of these explanatory schemes examining the relationship between society, culture, and religion suffer from the inadequacies of ignoring either the intellectual or the emotional content. The early evolutionists were generally misled by assuming that religion was solely a product of human mind and thinking. In this sense, they considered religion and spiritual order as purely personal and private affairs. For example, psychoanalytic theory has considered religion purely as a product of human experience based on trauma or emotional pressure. We have noticed in earlier paragraph how Durkheim rejected this explanation in his elucidation. The functional theory, on the other hand, understood religion as having a relationship with virtually even every human activity. This explanation is so broad and extensive that specificity in analysis is lost. Owing to this difficulty of diffuseness, functional exposition with an eclectic viewpoint has failed to produce concrete development proposals in terms of a comprehensive social theory of religion. Structuralism seems to have suffered by its heavy and superfluous stress on intellectualism, although it has attempted to offer an alternative account to functionalist explanation of religion as meeting the functional needs of society. Clifford Geertz, the American social anthropologist, has tried to resolve the problem of extremity in terms of emotion versus intellectual bias in the explanation of religion. Geertz presented a scheme that requires a focus on both the rational and the emotional content of religion. The term ethos is used to denote the feelings or the personality aspect that are a part of religion. The concept of worldview is employed to account for human reason. According to him, the ethos is made intellectually reasonable by being shown to represent a way of life implied by the actual state of affairs, at least as perceived by a particular worldview. In turn, one's worldview must be made emotionally acceptable by being presented as an image of actual state of affairs. In this way, Geertz proposes a harmony between the emotional and the intellectual aspect of religion can be conceived. Looking at the development of religion as a social phenomena historically, in a number of large and heterogeneous societies, a great change took place during a few hundred years before the Christian era. This was especially true with large societies like India, China, Egypt, and Babylonia. This was the time when great religions, namely Hinduism, Buddhism, Confucianism, Judaism, and later its offshoot Christianity and Islam, emerged in the world. This has resulted in a change in the nature of human relationship to physical and social world. Such a change consisted of separating the ideas of natural world from the idea of spiritual world. Instead of gods and supernatural powers intervening in the world around us routinely, they found place in an entirely different realm, heavens and hell, another sphere of reality, a world of ideal principles. This supernatural world stood as an ideal to the norms and values prevalent in culture, thus establishing a firm affiliation between the two. Needless to point out that the consequences of this change were far reaching for both the members and social institutions. Setting the issue of the universality of religion as mentioned above raised the difficult question of why religion should be part of all cultures. The explanation provided by Durkheim in his distinction between the sacred and the profane has not been accepted in the social science fully. Anthropologists attempted to explore issues and concepts such as sacred and secular, mana and taboo, priests and shamans, and the like in this regard. Practices in healthcare and education have been closely linked to the religion in many societies, and these issues were also closely looked into. Traditional medicine men, witches, and sorcerers have also been cultural part of society in a number of instances. Their ability to offer gratification to their group members was conceived as a possible explanation of the issue. A number of societies have attempted not to use common sense and rational logic in interpreting religion as a part of culture. Supernatural powers of religion was used as extraordinary elements in such an analysis. In those societies, both magical and religious beliefs are frequently regarded as rational. They are treated as either relies for the past or the product of people with a pre-logical, illogical mindset. A common question in cultural studies has been why do people continue such practices even when desired goals are unfulfilled? Is it not irrational when people continue to pour water on a lingam or perform the practice of getting mule married, even when such acts fail to bring rain? The question demands not a logical explanation bereft of societal context. It demands a culturally acceptable answer instead. While rationalization within cultural framework is characterized by religion, parts of it are also rational explanations of events. Mythological is particularly noteworthy as explanation for questions about why, when, and where. Mythological explanations sometimes provide clues to repressed feeling due to cultural inhabitation. In this sense, certain mythological practices may be considered as a collective dream of a given culture in which people express a feeling they cannot otherwise show. For the people involved, religion allows them to play the otherwise unexplained feeling kept at the unconscious level. Sir James Frazer argued that religion is an integrated substructure of the culture. His argument that religion evolved from magic with a projected evolution of religion to science is not accepted by other social scientists. His arguments have been persuasive for a wide audience, though of lesser concern in sociology and anthropology. Another evolutionist, Herbert Spencer, approached the problem of determining the origin of religion through examination of Australian Aborigines, who were considered the most primitive of living cultures. Since these natives paid much attention to their ancestors, Spencer reasoned that heroic ancestors were remembered and glorified by descendants. Over time, such grandparents assumed godlike qualities. In short, long dead ancestors became the realms of the sacred. These spirits began to govern the weather, health, education, family life, and other vital areas of culture. Putting it scientifically, Spencer proposed that human beings intellectually created their religion and that they progressed through rational evolutionary stages. Incidentally, Spencer also noted a religious and political connection. He contended that while the fear of other living people was basic for political organization, a fear of the dead was foundation of religious control. Other theories on the origin and function of religion are also far from being adequate to their explanation. The historical method, psychological theories, functional theories of religion, especially of Malevin-Sonki and Radcliffe Brown, and structural theories have also been only partial in explaining the origin and function and the structure of religion as a social institution within the cultural milieu. It may be pointed out that most theories of religion are inadequate and suffer by ignoring either the intellectual or the emotional content. Of all the theoretical explanation, Clifford Gazette explanation seems to be the comprehensive. Although Geertz have not provided a thoroughly satisfying account of the mutual relation between the ethos and the worldview, his presentation forced attention to both affect and thought in any analysis of the religious phenomena. Here we want to close this lecture. Thanks for listening.